Hey guys, Ron here, and a couple of months ago you guys witnessed the impossible when I made a couple of Pokemon that only had one stat. Trying to conform a new design to some Pokemon stats was fun for us both, so I decided to randomly generate an entire stat spread and create Pokemon based on those stats. I set the limit for each stat to 200 and the limit for the base stat total to be 600, because legendary Pokemon already have extreme stats and designs, so it wouldn't be too interesting to create a legendary with random stats. Keep in mind, I'm still trying to make these Pokemon fit into the franchise. They'll have crazy stats, but the designs themselves will look like, proper Pokemon. Because it would be too easy and kinda boring if I generated a Pokemon with like high defense and low speed and just drew a wall. I gotta get creative and clever. I don't wanna just make the obvious. I'm sure you and me are gonna have completely different ideas when reacting to the same stats. So leave a like and subscribe if you wanna see me do this challenge again. And make sure to check out all the other Fakemon videos I've made. But before we begin, with today's sponsor Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform that'll help you build the ideal website possible. You don't have to randomly generate a hastily put together website without knowing what the heck you're doing. Getting a hold of your very own website is incredibly important, no matter the career or hobby. So in order to create a beautiful website without stressing about all the, complicated stuff, you'll need the tools Squarespace offers. With its fluid engine, you can start designing with its best-in-class website templates and customize every detail with their easy-to-use drag-and-drop technology. It's the best way to create a website, trust me. Whether it's to showcase content of yours by hosting all your videos, to post your entire art portfolio, sell your products or services, display all your social links, schedule social media posts, and way more, you'll find that Squarespace has a tool for pretty much anything you want a website to do. And if you don't know where to start, with Squarespace Blueprint, you can choose from professionally curated layouts and styles so that with a click of a button, you'll already be set up with a professional-looking website, along with optimized SEO tools so you show up more often to more people and grow your website the way you want. If that sounds like exactly what you need, please check out the description and go to squarespace.com/truegreen7 for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain once you're ready to take your first step into the future. It'll help support the channel a great deal, so thank you in advance. Alright, let's generate the stats for the first Pokemon. Okay, HP 30, Attack 44, Defense 179, Special Attack 14, Special Defense 56, and Speed 152. Alright, so a highly defensive and speedy Pokemon that basically cannot attack. Like, no high attack or special attack, but that's a decent defense. So, I guess something fast and defensive. But if it's fast, it can't be something that is huge and defensive. It has to be something that's tiny and, hard to crack. Okay, I'm thinking about a nut. And we already have nut Pokemon, like an acorn, but alright, this may be my green bias, but how about a pistachio? I don't want to I don't want to just make a pistachio. It can't be a boring thing. I have to combine it with something. So I looked into it, and pistachios are basically Persian. That's where they originated from Persia. So that's basically modern day Iran. So can I combine a pistachio with a hijab, or specifically a chador, which is like the full body hijabs, specifically worn by Persian influenced countries? I'm not just gonna make a Muslim pistachio. That's still not that clever. I think I'm going to combine it with something else that's tiny and hard. I think I'm gonna combine it with a Matryoshka doll. I think that makes a lot of sense because it's another veiled feminine figure that is tiny and hard to get to the center of. It's hard to attack the true Matryoshka doll because it's hidden with a lot of layers. So you combine these dolls with a pistachio and the hijab. It works really well, honestly. And it makes sense since, Matryoshka dolls are, I assume, wooden. That would be grass type, just like a pistachio. It'll be like a little modest little pistachio girl. So this one's very simple in shape. 80% of the form is literally a Matryoshka doll with a pistachio on the bottom. For some time I wanted to give it long legs since it runs fast, but that conflicted with its more modest origins. So I gave her legs that made sense with her proportions. She doesn't actually have hair, but you know how when you open a pistachio, there's still that thin seed coating around the nut? So that's what the hair and eventually the clothing it looks like it has is made of. Its eyes are very much inspired by the painted on eyes on a Matryoshka doll, as well as the floral patterns. It makes sense as a grass type too. The veil-like patterns are inspired by the dolls, of course, but are linked with the Persian origins of the pistachio by looking like a hijab and more specifically a chador. The colors were tough to harmonize since none of these colors are complementary. I kept on looking at it in black and white so I can apply more contrast to the colors since the values were blending together too much. In the final design, you'll see more patterns that coat the body so it doesn't look nude. Say hi to Pistachio, the modest Pokemon, a pure grass type from the words Pistachio and Matryoshka. They have the abilities Shell Armor, Wind Rider, and the hidden ability Hustle. Pistachio are very curious and friendly, but it takes time for them to open up to those they just met. They are surprisingly quick. They have no means to properly deal damage, but utilize multiple methods to survive when confronted with their predators. They can easily run away, but when backed into a corner, they will fully withdraw into their indestructible shell. It can withstand the swipes or crushing blows of any Pokemon, and can even survive a drop from the tallest structures in the world. When Pistachio opens their shell, they can glide on the wind. Pistachio will let out their pent-up rage by kicking their trainers. These kicks don't hurt one bit and actually tickle. A kick from a Pistachio means they feel comfortable around you. The shiny is incredibly pretty. Guys, I love this. This seems like a character I designed to be the mascot of a Pistachio commercial. And the fact that she gives tiny, innocuous kicks to those that they love is hilarious. I would love to see fan art of Pistachio angrily pouting in a cute way, like Fern from Freerun. Hopefully you feel like this represents the stats quite well. Let me know if this Pokemon can be competitively viable if it had a bunch of setup moves. Alright, let's generate the next group of stats. HP 104, Attack 137, alright, Defense 58, alright, good that it's the opposite of the previous one. Special Attack 136, and Special Defense 61, and then Speed 13. Alright, it really is the opposite of the other one. No defenses, very slow, a lot of attack. Alright, what do I do? So it's something that can like really hurt you, but is super slow. I'm thinking jellyfish. You know, jellyfish have no defenses either. The defenses is the attack. Here's what's funny. A Portuguese man-o-war is not actually a jellyfish, but it looks like one. It's actually a siphonophore. How do you pronounce siphonophore? It's a siphonophore, siphonophore, whatever it is. It's an organism that is made up of multiple organisms. There's a lot of creatures like that in the sea, and the Portuguese man-o-war is one of them. Oh, I think I know what to combine it with. So it's going to be multiple creatures inside of a creature. So, you know that classic trope of like two kids in a trench coat trying to look like an adult man? I mean, man-o-war. I think that makes sense with what a man-o-war is, which is, you know, multiple organisms in one animal. That's pretty cool. And it'll just be like multiple Pokemon inside of a water silhouette that looks like a man. That way they have no defenses, but they can attack because they're poisonous and sting, I guess. So I'm taking the gas bag and crest of a Portuguese man-o-war and making it look slightly more like a head of hair. Inside the structure are 6 single-celled organisms that pilot the water mech. They all have different personalities, with the one at the head being the most serious and the one at the bottom being the youngest. I'm restructuring it so it looks more like a man in a trench coat. This Pokemon thinks it's disguised as a man, when in reality you can see right through him. In this more upright arrangement, the cells also look like chakra points around the body. This water mech is filled with poison and has the gradient and purple stripe of a man-o-war. Check out Man-o-war, the disguised Pokemon, a water poison type, from man and war since it looks like a man wearing clothes, and Man-o-war. It has the abilities Water Veil, Liquid Ooze, and Clear Body. Man-o-war consists of 6 giant single-cell Pokemon who band together to get around. The poison that they ooze fills the water figure they pilot. The water disguise they surround themselves with allows them to walk on land and see the world, but in reality, since their disguise is transparent, they fool no one. Despite their cloak not working, humans play along, and Man-o-war have fun believing they are tricking those around them. This cloak is incredibly easy to break, and predators often reach the individual cells inside, but the bitter poison that coats their cells causes their predators to instantly spit them out. To retaliate, Man-o-war attacks with incredible blasts of water and giant water tentacles that they form to slap their opponent. Each individual cell has a personality of its own, but they get along because they are far stronger together. I think this is one of my favorite concepts in a long time, and goddamn does the water look refreshing. I think an episode of the anime where one of the Man-o-war cells is lost and Liko must help it find its way back to the Man-o-war body would be cute.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Dolflo. Alright, let's generate the next spread. HP 91, Attack 20, okay, so the opposite of the last one. Defense 126, definitely. Special Attack 164, so a defensive special attacker, and Special Defense 123, so just a fully defensive, really good defenses and a really good special attack, but super slow with speed 22. Honestly, that's a very interesting Pokemon. So it has to be something that's very bulky and can attack from a distance, can maybe shoot something, can spray something, but doesn't really attack physically. I'm really leaning into the object Pokemon because people really do not want me to do it like too many animals anymore. I just do too many animals. So again, I'm thinking about a plant. I'm thinking about a poisonous plant. That makes sense. It'll spray something. Alright. Eggplants. So eggplants are nightshades, just like tomatoes and peppers, I think. Whatever. A lot of groups, a lot of fruits and vegetables, they're nightshades. And a lot of nightshades, or I don't know if a lot of nightshades, but some nightshades have poisonous components to them, like the mandrake. So they're hot, very toxic. And like an eggplant, it's bulky and like thick, both specially and defensively, I'd say. So let's make like an eggplant lady. We don't have any big girl representation, I think, in Pokemon, unless I'm mistaken. A confident eggplant that is very defensive and like poisonous, so it like sprays poison from its flowers and doesn't really attack because it's like big and like slow because it's an eggplant. That makes sense, I think. Originally, I drew an eggplant with leaf hair that also acted like its sassy arms and a flower on its head. But not only did it look too similar to Gorgeist and Lilligant, but it had no personality. So I went girl boss. It's sassy and toxic. It doesn't care about you and even taunts you. The stem of the eggplant looks like a ponytail, and their arms are flowers from which they shoot out poison. It very much has popular girl energy. I gotta make sure that the legs are not too long, because it's a slow Pokemon that only uses its legs to barely keep it up, on account of her being very, rotund. She's basically skipping while giving you a good old ara. Originally, I gave her a cat-like mouth too, but changed it last minute. The eggplant colors made it hard to read her expression, so I lightened up the purple. The flowers are inspired by the toxic mandrake, which has human-shaped roots. This is Oberqueen, the Nightshade Pokemon, a grass poison type. From aubergine, the word the Brits use for eggplant, and queen. She has the abilities Leaf Guard, Ripen, and Chlorophyll. Oberqueen love attention and even welcome a battle if the audience is big enough. However, Oberqueen hate physically fighting, as they do not want to ruffle the petals and leaves that they groom every day. In order to attack, Oberqueen releases what has been determined to be the most poisonous pollen among Pokemon. As a result, only experienced trainers are recommended to train one. Oberqueen's hide is incredibly tough. Attacks bounce right off of their giant gut. Their legs barely support their frame. It concentrates on making perfect poses, so in battle, it stays firmly in place and releases its poisonous pollen. Their shiny is more tomato looking, which is in the same family. Honestly, this feels like a Pokemon we'll eventually get. Recently, I've been embracing the camp of Pokemon such as Aromatisse, so I try to instill what I assume some fans would enjoy. It's tougher than you think making a feminine grass type, since there are already so many, and I have to differentiate it from them. I like her as a counterpart to Pistachio too. Do you like the modest Pistachio or the sassy Eggplant? Alright, finally, the last spread. We have HP 87, Attack 196. Okay, really, each one is different than the last. Defense 105. Okay, a defensive attacker, that's normal. Special attack, very low, 36. Special defense, 49, below average. Speed 9. So we have a lot of slow Pokemon. This is relatively easy. It's something that is very strong physically, but not, specially, and it's slow. I'm thinking something that stays in one place. So something that will, if you come near it, it will attack you, or it will, give you a devastating blow. So I'm thinking a guillotine. It's not slow, it just stands in one place, but, if you get next to it, that's not the sound of someone dying. But what do I combine it with? It has to be like an animal that, something like its neck goes like this, maybe? Like a guillotine, just slices when it, bends down. I'm thinking giraffe. But how about instead of just plain old giraffe, we use a giraffe weevil? These bugs, I actually think weevils are very cute, and I'm not a big bug fan, but weevils, pretty cute. Giraffe weevil, very interesting. What if it uses its neck to just slice you down like an axe? It has an axe. Alright, we're gonna combine a weevil with a giraffe, a guillotine, and then we'll give it the aesthetic also of an executioner or a hangman, a medieval one specifically. I think it'll work. So I forgot to record during the beginning of the design process, but as you can see, it's pretty much a mixture of a giraffe and a giraffe weevil. Its snout looks like an axe, while the square patterns and hooded black head is inspired by a medieval executioner's hood or robes. The legs are also a cross between a literal giraffe and weevil. I even added a few giraffe spots. The colors ended up making a lot of sense since it's literally how a giraffe weevil looks like, which coincidentally has the black hood of a hangman or executioner. I wanted to make sure the eyes were striking and soulful too. Behold, Weevil, the deliberate Pokemon from Cleave and Weevil, a bug steel type with the abilities Sharpness, Mold Breaker, and No Guard. Weevil are quite careful and astute Pokemon that think before they act. It takes them quite a bit of time to decide if, when, and how to attack, but once they've made up their mind, they swiftly execute a devastating blow that always hits with absolute fury. They stand their ground as their axe-like snout drops on their foe. They use their wings to help them change direction and protect their backside, which they cannot defend. Weevil have been used for centuries to execute enemies of the state. Weevil who refused to take lives were utilized by lumberjacks, who took great care of Weevil. Today, Weevil are loved for how gentle and caring they are, which contrasts with the power they yield in battle. Their shiny is more giraffe-like. You know I love me some gentle giants, especially if they look as scary as can be. Any opportunity to make something so dangerous looking my friend, I take it. Now's your opportunity to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, where I show sneak peeks of my art, and of course, check out my other art videos and the description for my Patreon, where you can get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early, which you could also do by clicking the join button. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!